Now, for those that will be tuning in to this show after this has been uploaded and recorded, we're doing a conversation that matters between Samuel G. Cohen. You're in Thailand right now?
That's correct.
All right, and myself. And so let's start off first with the communion. You got any elixir with you?
Yeah, sure.
Since you're a man of divinity, and I hold you in that respect, brother, would you honor us with a prayer for our water?
Yes.
Thank you.
May God bless the elixir to nourish us, sustain us, and heal us every day.
Cheers.
Cheers.
2 hours old, a good year.
Half an hour, man.
That's as fresh as they come. So you and I go back about 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
When we first had an interview, it was 2019, and Kelly was with you at the time. So we all get to, appreciate the depth of his knowledge and wisdom and what you've gained from him, and
Yes.
how this well, you were doing drinking through the nose before you met Kelly? No, after you met Kelly.
Yeah, he showed me. He discovered it, and then he showed me.
Okay, and then after that, you just kind of like took off on your own and started practicing it?
No, we practiced together many years, and we recorded ourselves nose drinking the elixir, and we just kept practicing and kept doing videos as well of us like drinking, shall we say, a lot of elixir, like 3 bottles at night. We would collect it, and then we drink that through the nose to open the nose. So we kept doing that for a few years. We just had elixir, nothing else. Of the nose, I mean, only elixir. Then we started water and everything else up the nose, juice, over the years. But yeah, elixir was first for 2 years or something, 2-3 years.
Who came up with the idea to try different liquids?
Yeah, I mean, Kelly was always like the front runner with us. So he started drinking through the nose before we did. So we had to kind of let him guide us at the beginning, And then his brother suggested mineral water. Have you ever tried water? And then we were like, get some water quickly. Got the water, drank through the nose, and Kelly was, in bliss, like, wow, this is a river going in my head, mountain water, as much as you can get from the bottle.
Sure.
But through the nose, it refreshes everything and rejuvenates every liquid because you're having it into your brain. So it purifies the liquid, you can say. And with the blessing also, with the mantra.
Okay. Thank you. What would be really cool, I'm getting this download. It'd be nice if we knew somebody who could put together some kind of video that shows the pathway of when the urine or whatever liquid comes in the nose and how it widens and rehydrates and gets its way to the pineal gland. That'd make a great little video.
It would, totally, wouldn't it? And with some animation or some, diagram to show where it's going, the liquid into the nasal cavity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen about rhinoplasty, there's like Center of Rhino Studies, nose studies in America. You have, departments and universities. So I'm sure they'd be interested too once they got to know the details and what it does when it goes through this beautiful space behind the nasal cavity. And the exploration hasn't been studied, hasn't been researched yet. Even now, 2023, it's still not researched. It's like people are scared to jump into it. I think medical people maybe are scared to be the first one to open it.
Well, right now, I think the medical establishment or the medical business is on shaky ground, so they're just trying to survive right now.
Totally. I know.
We won't miss them, but yes. All right.
I think they can incorporate themselves, into the natural world too. There's wise ones, the wise doctors and medical staff can go into the natural world.
Yeah, that would be a lovely transition or a changeover. All of a sudden, they realize that people who are practicing with nature and with the natural methods are getting results without them.
Totally.
Well, we're going to keep that up.
Absolutely.
And it was at your teaching about the. It was then, and I'm going back to our original interview back in 2019.
Sure. Beautiful.
I think it's still up on YouTube.
Yeah, I've got it on my Facebook and a few places for sure.
Okay. When this call ends, the video will be downloaded either on my laptop or on Zoom. And what I can do is send you the file, and then you can do whatever you want with it.
Great.
Nice. So back in 2019, it was then that your teaching and sharing about the drinking of Shivambhu through the nose started really reaching a wider audience. And did you notice that there was kind of a bigger interest and you reached a wider audience back then?
2019. Yes, I mean, only marginally. I did hear about it from also Harry mentioned it, you know. Maybe in 21, I met Harry, or 21, I think it was, or 22, and he mentioned it. But 19, yeah, I didn't notice such a big change. I mean, maybe some more requests for the book from yourself. Also, you started to begin pushing further, you know, sharing. So I've seen small changes, but not such large ones. Maybe because of the people I'm talking to are from different fields, you know, not just urine, but also fruitarium, and you know, some people they haven't crossed over, you know.
Right.
They stay in their course, stay in their circles, and they don't want to bring in different techniques so much. I've noticed also.
Yeah, well, I noticed that in social media groups, they like to stick to the topic. And
Yeah.
it's not unusual the guys that jump on the urine therapy social media groups that are off topic, you can spot them in seconds.
Yeah.
They make the most silly posts. You go, that's a troll, kick them out.
I know. People like start answering them and pandering to them, and you say they're just asking a stupid question on purpose, you know, to antagonize or to be, you know, obtuse and stuff. You can see it.
Right. And we're about love.
Purity and love.
In harmony, yeah. So we're not gonna, slap them sideways. We're gonna kick them out.
Exactly. We're not that nature, are we?
No, we're not wired for that. So how does it feel to be Samuel G. Cohen in 2023? How much has your life changed, and where are you now since you and I had our last talk?
Yeah, I mean, that's been 4 years now, right? Almost 4 years.
4 to 5, yeah.
Yeah, 2019. So, I mean, really, I say like one of the major lifts I got was going to India for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and partly by choice and partly by design, you know, by how the world was changing. I stayed there for 2.5 years. I'd imagined that, but when I arrived, you know, that I'd be granted and permitted, you know, by the universe to stay in such a wonderful place as Goa. And I learned about the breathing there in 2020, the conscious connected breathing, you know, that I didn't know much about at all when we talked last, you know, scratch the surface. And now it's really, when you combine it with how the body functions, I see it as just as essential as drinking your water, drinking through the nose, you know, breathing techniques are alongside them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped hugely. And then I wrote my autobiography when I was in Goa in 2020 it was a monsoon, so I was alone in my room a lot, and I got to write my whole childhood again, you know, and go through it and make notes. So I wrote that in 2020, and then I learned the breath work straight after. It arrived to me, you know, called me. Mm-hmm. And now that's been 2.5, 3 years. I've been practicing and sharing the technique, giving workshops, giving classes.
Very nice.
And with Sahaja Yoga. So that's really, it's lifted me to new heights, you can say, you know? Mm-hmm. To my understanding of what I am and who I am as a being, yeah, it's lifted me to great heights. And now 2023, as we begin the year, I've been focusing on my leg for 3 months. You know, it's taken like so much of my attention, my leg now. But through that, it's helped me to learn, you know, more about my own vehicle and about being raw. I've become a lot more raw now.
Very nice.
And about wrapping the elixir onto my knee, you know, because it's an easy joint to get to, the knee. You can wrap mm-hmm. things around it easily. So doing that has been miraculous, you know. It's been very high-level healing, going within, internally, you know. The elixir goes within you, soaks into your leg, and I can see how that's been, you know, healing in ways that all these medical people wouldn't know about it. They have no awareness of it. So yeah, I'm feeling very uplifted now, and really, as the knee gets better, so it's strengthening me, and my attention, my meditation is strengthening with everything else, with strengthening myself, my body, everything. Yeah.
Excellent. And what are you wrapping it around your knee with?
Yeah, so I'm just using some mature urine and putting it on the cloth, and then just wrapping it, putting a bag if I need to in bed, a plastic bag maybe to go to sleep. And then daytime I have it on, and I don't care about the smell as long as the leg's getting better. So yeah, the age, a few days is enough,
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh,
getting
good.
more, yeah.
Well, this is good. And perhaps sometime when you're all healed and it's all over with, a testimonial will come out of this.
Exactly. I'm gonna love to write about it. Totally. Yeah.
Now, the autobiography, is that going to become a book?
It is going to become a book, and I was just waiting to really complete it now. In terms of the last couple of years, I haven't addressed it, and I found out some information about a relative that I didn't know that was quite traumatic to know that something they've gone through.
Yes.
So this changes really. I have to look at the autobiography again and readjust some parts of it where I didn't know these things about my relative, Yeah.
Well, you might learn some more stuff about your past. You might start learning about your childhood. You might start learning where some of your beliefs came from.
Yeah.
Which is always revealing for me. Particularly if you're in a relationship, you get to find out patterns in your thinking, patterns in your emotions, things you really never dealt with. And that stuff is affecting our health.
Excuse me. Yes, I'm hearing you. Absolutely. Sorry, just adjusting the camera. Yeah, absolutely. I've sensed that too, as you write about your past, so you get more revealed and more answers and everything. Yeah, I'm really observing that now, and I'm accepting that as part of your healing journey, isn't it? To shed your skin, as it were.
Right. Or peel out the layers, same kind of thing.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm just going to keep on going on the script here and see where we get. Thank you for having the courage and the motivation to spread this very important UT protocol, drinking through the nose. It's not just the drinking through the nose, but it links people up to oral consumption and all the topical protocols.
Absolutely.
Anything that gets them back to their water and them acknowledging, praising, and loving themselves through the loving gesture of drinking your water. And more people, not just the sisters in the water family, but I hear this from the brothers in the water family, that drinking of yourself is not only a self-love practice, but it's a holy communion with yourself.
I know, and it really goes a lot deeper than we interpret it at the moment, doesn't it? Like, it's not just drinking your water, it's on so many levels, that you're reconnecting and bonding with your higher nature.
Yeah, and more people are having insights and flashes to their birth and being in mom's womb. And that's really far out. I notice some of the newbies that come my way that want to know about this practice, and they want to know what does it take to actually get the first drink down your throat. I remind them that this is something you were doing when you were inside your mother.
Absolutely.
You were more like a fish. We were breathing in the water, and at one point our eyes opened up, and our eyes got bathed in the water, and then we came out beautiful.
Absolutely. I know, it's perfect design.
So because of what I've been doing, let's see. Yeah, because of all the people that I've been reaching out worldwide and all the connections that have been coming my way and intersecting, the conversation about drinking through the nose has come up more and more. So I'm very excited about that. And you've been my mentor and inspiration for me, not only practicing it, but the people who we've associated with have been trying all kinds of different devices other than a water bottle. And let me just point some of these things out to you. All right. some people are using a sinus spray bottle,
Sure.
right? I don't know if it goes any higher, any deeper than just the way you've been teaching it, but they're trying this. They're trying a little a bulb, silicone bulb. They're trying all kinds of ways to get up in the nose. And is it basically their resistance to just like popping it back like you've been teaching it?
Exactly. I feel like the basic way in this regard is the best because you're putting the whole glass up your nose, drinking the whole glass at one go.
Yeah.
Or one sitting at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a complete practice, it's a complete cleanse. And as you get more mature and more adept with it, then it becomes smoother and quicker and more natural, with the glass. Totally.
So it becomes second nature, just like drinking down your mouth.
Absolutely.
So didn't you give an illustration once that the nose was kind of like a straw?
A straw, yeah. I mean, people always often ask me, do you use a straw? Have you used a straw? But I've always said the nostrils of a straw,
Yeah.
They're designed that way, like.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really snort, you can really sniff with your nose. It's been given
Mm-hmm.
you sniff the air, you can sniff the liquid just the same way, as long as you swallow it when it gets to your epiglottis. That's all you have to do, is just make sure you sniff and swallow, sniff and swallow.
Well, here's a question for you. Tonight, before I came in here, I was just kind of clearing my head, getting centered, getting ready to come talk with you. And I started to practice the alternative nadi exercise where you're closing off one side of the nose and breathing in, and then you switch out and do the other side.
Yeah.
Well, it just dawned on me, does it affect you differently whether you drink out of one nostril or the other? Does that have any difference?
Yeah, it does have a difference. It's just that we haven't really closed one off deliberately and tried to experiment with one nostril, with the drinking. We haven't explored that because sometimes maybe one side is a little bit more blocked anyway. And so as you drink the glass, slowly it goes in and it just unblocks both of them equally.
Right. Okay.
And just continual practice is the best,
That's why we call it practice. Every day.
Yeah, open pathways. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, by the way, in case I forget to mention it, for those that are watching this, you can read Samuel's articles in my books. They're in 3 out of 5 of the books, guys. If you want to know how this works and who Samuel is, it's a great way to get to inside scoop on him. And your website, I believe, is in the books, but we're going to post it at the end of this video. Website, email, and any way to if there's any social media links you want me to add, just let me know.
Thanks.
Sure. All right. Since we're there, I don't know if you explained it, but if you can go in a little more detail, we're going to little by little. Let me know if I'm addressing your questions because I wrote them down. They're in the script, so they may not be in any order.
That's okay. And the topics as well. I'd like, if you want to bring them up later, there's some topics underneath that we can bring in just so we can, elaborate a little bit on them or share about them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, brother. They're in here. They're on the list. Could you briefly explain for those that are new to drinking through the nose, what are the benefits and what mindset must we have? What mindset shall we hold in order to do this?
Yes. Well, I mean, as you know, we practice also Sahaja Yoga meditation for many years. I practiced them really the same amount of time. I practiced drinking elixir. I've been doing Sahaja Yoga meditation. And while Sahaja Yoga doesn't recommend anything to do with elixir, it doesn't mention it, naturally we've incorporated it in our way of life. And it's about really essentially opening this chakra, and the third eye gets awakened as the Kundalini rises. This chakra opens, and then she comes out. So drinking through the nose, it's very much related because you're drinking. Your third eye is getting decalcified, from all the tap water we've been drinking, or all the television or whatever it may be, vaccines.
Heavy metal.
Drinking through the nose, drinking through the nose is decalcifying the pineal gland. And essentially opening the passageways and to the brain, from the nasal passage and all these different layers we've got behind us and the bones and tissue. So when we drink through the nose, we're also in a state of meditation. We were feeling the Kundalini is rising. We're feeling the expanding of consciousness. And so with the mantra as well, we're singing mantras while we're drinking. We're reciting the mantras as we're drinking through the nose, the mantra in Sahaja Yoga. And so this is all reverberating within us, within the water, and also expanding in our environment and in the world. It's going like the mantra is going through the water, and then it's going further and wider, because water, sound travels very good through water. So it's very much related to the meditation, to the consciousness, to the prayers, and the nose drinking, through Kelly. You know how Kelly is, the way he talks and the way his focus is. I've never met anyone the way he is. And so that I adopted that way too, by being with him so many years and being close to him so many years. Yeah.
So is there any particular, I think you mentioned the mantras, but is there any particular frame of mind that people should get into while they're doing this?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, get into a meditative state, and very much like inner silence, inner peace, and then really treat it as a yoga technique, as you're doing something that's very much, it's practiced for years now. We've got different ways of holding the cup as well, we've got different techniques of like, and that affects, that will affect how it goes in, when you do like the Cavalier one, for instance, this very difficult one, the Cavalier, how we hold the cup. So you put your fingers in your ear, and even reverse Cavalier, you put your fingers in your ear, you hold the cup like this.
Oh, reverse. Okay.
Yeah. And then you put your other finger in your ear from behind.
Okay.
And you drink through the nose like that. And that in itself it has another effect. When you take it in, it has a different way of experience, a whole different experience from each different technique. It's like, and then also putting some in your mouth, before you drink the nose.
Yeah, I remember you teaching that before, and that's been really helped me.
It's so good. Like your elixir is going everywhere. Let's just say it's going everywhere you want it to. The nose, the eyes, the ears. The mouth can't give you that. If you just drink through the mouth, you can't get the same effect.
Yeah, it's all lower torso. So, would you say this would also be helpful for people with eye challenges, eye health problems?
Yeah, putting it in their eye as well. Like they have to purify their body too. Alongside it, if they're going to eat lots of cooked foods or animal foods, and drink or whatever, alcohol, and then try and do it, it's not really respecting their own water. They have to really get purified, with how they drink and eat,
right,
and respect themselves. And then they can enter these levels. I do highly recommend it, absolutely, for eye conditions, eye drops, ear drops. Very good for the ears, very good for the eyes, absolutely. And drinking through the nose will let it go into the eyes from inside. It does make people look younger as well. Their skin looks younger.
Right.
Sure.
Well, there are intersecting cavities between the eyes, ears, nose, and throat.
Yes.
So it's going to affect all these different cavities in areas. Are people reporting more that their sinus cavities are more hydrated?
Yeah. I've read some posts on in the groups and Facebook, and people are for sure. I've read some of those. The nose drinking group I have is not so active. We need to start lifting it again, because there's no other groups like it, is there, on Facebook? There's no other nose drinking group. So
no,
there isn't. I'd like to post more now in that one, and I'd like to be with Kelly in the same place, because when we're together, we're so dynamic, and we show each other different ways, and we bounce off each other.
Right.
And there's many months where I'm not with him. Like now I'm here. I was in India for 2 years. I wasn't with him. So the universe keeps putting us together and then putting us apart physically. So we'd like to do together retreats, host retreats together, and really get a nice group and keep turning it over lovely people to come and join us.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that after the after this is
Sure.
done, said and done. Um,
Sure.
Wonderful. So more and more people are finding their way to urine therapy. I'm very excited to be with you on this journey. Since you and I've met, the world has really exploded with the interest and social media offline. I've been taking this offline down in the streets, and the Shivambhu hut. Have you heard about that? Our little group here in Boulder, we formed a nonprofit organization called Shivambhu, and we put together a gathering place called the Shivambhu Hut. Well, in 2020, we had 200 members. We thought, okay, we're slowly making progress. And then COVID hits, it bumps up to 600 members. And now, 4 years later, we're at 915 members.
Right.
So that says a lot about the interest.
Totally. I hear you. And it's like, the purity of that group, it's like focus on the Shivambhu. It's beautiful, get people to really know about the wonders and healing power of the Shivambhu. That's really good.
Right. And what we've practiced, and this might be your experience, is there is a bond with water sisters and water brothers that I've not experienced in going to New Age churches and spiritual communities and going to kirtan. It's like we have an instant understanding of each other. And a lot of the people in social media have built friendships for life.
I know. I met Monica here, and that was wonderful. Just as I imagined, we we've known each other for years, and we are on the same wavelength, and we want the same for each other and the world. And yeah, it was very inspired to meet her, to meet Monica.
Oh, if you run into her, tell her we've been trying to do an interview for 3 years.
Sure. She lives not far from me. Like we're in the mountain in Kopangan. But yeah, I'll mention.
Yeah, let her know we talked. Have you run into a brother named Eric Storch?
I have, yeah. And we've had fun. We've met a few times now, and we talked a lot. Yeah, it's been wonderful. Also, I'm glad you mentioned him. I didn't know if you knew him.
Yeah, we've been communicating for the last 2 or 3 years through social media.
Yes, Eric is here, and Monica's husband. And there was also Lewis was here too. He's not here right now.
And did Harry make it?
Harry's going to be in Central America for a few months longer, he said.
Okay, well, so, Harry encouraged us. He gave us his encouragement right before we started on Facebook. So he's kind of with us in spirit.
Yes.
Which is wonderful. Now, originally, when I started the retreats, the vision I got was to do a world tour, and the world tour would be part of a piggyback operation of creating a documentary, gathering testimonials and communities. The documentary is going to be called "Following the Shivambhu Trail." And the idea was to hang out with you and Harry and everybody else and see what the interest is in building a local organized community or a meeting group so you could support each other.
Yes, it's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, tour and get the communities to connect deeper and meet in person and, have a video together and the conference call. Absolutely. Are you already doing with the conference call therapy, the Shivambhu, conference call you have once a week, is it? This beautiful gathering already. What's it called?
Well, I've had 34 of those, and just recently we had a urine therapy Q&A and the Shivambhu lifestyle to find out. And when 5 people showed up, and we wanted to find out, well, what is your lifestyle all about? So we kept asking people, what do you practice? I mean, are you fruitarian? Are you eating a raw vegan? And how did you fit Shivambhu into your life? And this is a good question for some of the people that come into your life is not only how do you develop it, or what do you tell people who are in a compromised situation? And there's a family member or roommate that has an issue with your practice, but you don't want to give it up.
Totally. That's very good to address these, scenarios and obstacles that some people might face. Yeah, absolutely. To help people on their journey.
So that's something that I would like to talk more with people, because if the practice means more than anything to you, it's the kind of practice I know it is to you, it's near and dear, and you'd never walk away from it. I mean, this is never going to become a been there, done it kind of a situation.
Yeah.
And every now and then, what really puzzles me, I hear people go, "Oh yeah, I stopped doing urine therapy. It just wasn't working." I'm going, "What? Did you change anything else in your life? Are you still eating that crap you ate before?" I mean, when people come up to you and they ask the question, I got some more questions for you. But one of the questions they always ask, is there anything that Shivambhu cannot heal? And I say
Exactly.
yes.
Yes.
I say no, and I say yes. Because if people don't change their diet, their lifestyle, their attitude, they don't clear the programming in their thinking, it'll just be like a Band-Aid.
Yeah, they might only get 20%, 30%. They won't get keep evolving with it.
Yeah. So for me, that's near and dear to me because I've been doing holistic health since the late 70s. And before we were known as wellness practitioners, they called us holistic health practitioners. You're familiar with that term?
Yeah.
And so the whole idea was to keep in balance what they call all four pillars of health, which is the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. And that's how you achieve the homeostasis or the balance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, things don't work out as well as you like them to work out. Where are you now in your Shivambhu protocol practices, and how has this sacred practice helped you?
Yes. So, as I said earlier in the talk about the leg, like that has opened my eyes because I never needed it really for an injury,
Mm-hmm.
For an internal injury that I couldn't get to. I've used it on cuts, on burns, on a bike injury, and it's miraculously, I've been drinking it during the injury and I've been putting it on the wounds. And it was just, within 10 days, I was up again dancing, or within 2 weeks. And now this has been 3 months, and it's a bit more of an internal injury with the meniscus, my knee, right? So wrapping it for the last 2 months I've been doing. I didn't do it at first for some reason. I was just doing a lot of other things, and I wasn't, people said to me, wrap it, every day. And Monica said, put it on there at night even, 24/7, right? So now that I started doing that, I was noticing big changes from the external wrapping of something. So that's opened my eyes to that side of it, because I already had my eyes open to the nose drinking benefits, from when I was I've already mentioned this before in the earlier talk, in my early 20s, to detox me from chemicals,
Mm-hmm.
to remove weight, people with obesity issues or weight issues, they can remove weight. We know that it removes fat, unnecessary fat, right, and blockages in your colon. It removes that makes you automatically get slimmer, right? Because your colon improves, so your sewage, your waste, everything gets better. So your backlog in your cells, your fat cells start to reduce, automatically from a more of a healthier flow. And so nose drinking, I'd say, compared to mouth drinking, is already, enhancing the benefits already, for sure, right? But now the external wrapping and everything, this is what I'm going to be able to help people with, say, in the future, when they have an injury. I can guide people, if in the community that I'm in, I can show people you've got to wrap, the urine on the leg or on the arm or your shoulder, whatever, and keep it on there. And also do your physio and also drink it. Because some people, they might wrap it, but they don't want to drink it yet. They're like, can't even bear the thought of it. So also about the attitudes of people. So I suppose finding new ways to express it also, say artistically, creatively, finding new ways to share about the elixir, it reaches more people then. And that's what we want to see now in the world, is more people becoming conscious, removing the calcification of their third eye, removing the calcification in their brain. We want to see that so that people can then open their eyes and they'll be able to decode what's happening in the world much easier than a lot of them do now, right? Yeah, so I want to share it further. And as we talked about the retreats that I would love to host, hold the space, host a retreat and to share Shivambhu, alongside the breath technique, alongside Sahaja Yoga, and also the lovemaking, because they're all essential parts of our being, aren't they? Like meditation, breathing, how we make love. And then we're going to stop eating in the same way and stop relying on food to give us sustenance or to make us feel good before we go to work, or, at lunchtime we're hungry, so we've got to have that big meal because we've got a big meeting in the afternoon. All these kind of thoughts, will start to dissipate and be replaced, by getting real food from all the different avenues of nature.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And all the energies that are surrounding us. I think one of the breatharians was saying that the reason the breatharians could do what they do is because they knew how to source the life force, the oxygen, nitrogen, whatever it is, the molecules that are in the air. I mean, this is kind of like a thin little water membrane all around us. We're not in just air.
Yeah, I know that. It's good to talk about it with you right now, because I can feel it. It's helping me on my day-to-day when I go out. I'm going to be getting fruits and getting salad. It's like jog your memory when you talk to someone else, such as yourself,
Yeah.
On the same level. It's very good channel now, I feel, sense between us.
Well,
as it always has been.
The fasting, thank you. Yes, we'll do it again sometime. The fasting, particularly if people are doing a Shivambhu fast, is many layered healing that takes place. It's not just giving your digestive system a rest and working on the toxic material, the mucoid plaque, the parasites, whatever, out of the body. But what's happening is fasting liberates you from the slavery of food. Because a lot of people are coming to recognize that food is a trap, food is an addiction, food is an obsession. We got suckered into food means love because it was used as reward and punishment. If you eat this, you get dessert. You eat this, well, you get sex. If you eat this, you get... And so with that out of the picture, you don't have all those strings and all these tentacles attached to you. You didn't. What I love about urine fasting is at the end of the day, I didn't even think about food. The energy's there all day. The creative spark is there. I'm still walking 3 or 4 miles every day. And I really encourage people to take a break from food for a while.
Yeah, no, I haven't done a urine fast. I've only done a dry fast. And I just need to, I'm going to do one very soon. I suppose it's just things have been distracting me a little bit recently, and with the leg, and I haven't gone a complete fast, but breathe, exactly. Being in this place, it's a very fun place I'm in. Like, it's lots of fun happening. So it's about like getting the priorities, in order. And everything.
Yes, and trusting that everything's in divine order, regardless of what your mind is doing to entertain you.
Yeah, I know. Whatever thoughts I'll be running through, absolutely. It's good to hear that again, talking to you and, being with people such as yourself, because a lot of people I meet here, you have to start from the beginning with them, and it happens every day. I meet a lot of people. I'm a very talkative person,
Yes, you are. It's your nature.
And then you have to start from the beginning, which is sweet, but then you feel like you're having the same conversation sometimes, every day. And then to talk to you, it's like, we just plug into the deep levels quickly, automatically configure our
Well, when you're used to purging and healing and feeling everything that you feel and feeling what other people feel, and you're used to living in the deep waters of the emotions of the soul, that's where your new default setting is. So to find someone who is an energetic match or a consciousness match is a treat. And this is why, this is what I do, and I suggest you do, is who your go-to people are. Either it's your friends in the inner circle, are the ones that you can communicate if you need a check-in. I mean, I've got a couple of friends like that. If just something is off, I'll just call them up and say, hey, can I just talk something through?
Yeah, so true. I mean, Kelly's the one I talk to mostly, but it's not that often because we're 12 hours or 7 hours gap.
Right.
He likes to talk in the evening. I'm in bed by then. So, talking to you, talking to Harry, Monica, people along these beautiful lines. Yeah, absolutely. I need to do it more often. I'm going to call you more often then.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Okay. How has the feedback between, are you hearing more people use? Okay. Well, here's the question. How has the feedback been from folks who are either curious about this practice, whether it's the nose or urine therapy, newbies or regular users? How's the feedback been? And are you hearing about more people who are coming into this work?
Yeah, I suppose like only through social media that would happen. You know, in my immediate environment, like I was in Goa for 2.5 years, and a few of the people I met there who were healers, practicing, you know, holistic medicine and different techniques, shall we say. A few of them were like asking me about the urine, you know, like inquiring, like, oh, I'm reading about the Shivambhu, and you know, and I'm, as far as I know, I'm the only one that I knew in Goa where I was staying that really does it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody said to me, I'm also drinking, you know, very hardly anyone. Um, and obviously not through the nose, but it's starting naturally through our talks like this, you know,
Yes.
interviews like this. When they watch it, they can see another person and they can see how we are addressing it and how we are illuminating the technique and presenting it, so they can get a lot of insight from these kind of talks. I feel that these are good. So yeah, I've got a few inquiries, and online, yeah, much more online, because you do see the urine groups, you know, you get to meet people new people, you know, and then you see a lot more inquiries. Absolutely. I like to keep an eye on the groups, and if I can post or comment something, you know, in the right moment when it's not a troll, then I like to do that. So yeah, I'm seeing it slowly expanding and organically, you know, maybe like you said, a documentary where we do a tour, you know, and then that gets shown more widespread. Something like that can really push it along further. I feel it's a very good idea, actually.
Well, the only one that's been out so far is Urinade by Stephen Williams in Australia.
Okay.
He came
See
out with
that.
that one in like 2017, somewhere 2018. And that's the only
Okay.
one I've heard about.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, but I haven't watched any documentary or we need to make one then, isn't it? Together, like you said, like
Yeah, well, you'll build your content with interviews and testimonials from people. Oh, by the way, the reason you need to be coming back to social media is because your presence and your voice is inspiring and motivates people. I can tell the difference, Samuel, when I pull away from social media because I'm working on my life or a relationship or something that keeps me from getting on. And I feel like I'm missing the growth of the community. I'm missing the interaction with people. So it's fun to jump in and engage once in a while.
yeah, I know, I feel that, and I feel like these talks, yeah, really nice and very needed. We can do them more often. I'm gonna look to do them more often now. You know, with yourself and whoever else wants to talk with me. You know, and
Mhm.
record it.
So you're interested in being a host and interviewing people?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just very like the way you do it. You know, relax, just like we both talk and we both ask each other things too. You know, it's like a two way thing, but it can be initiated as an interview. Yeah, sure.
Right. And so what has helped me is to write scripts, and you can go off script at any time.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just like a nice, you know, guide. If you need something to change the topic in that moment or something to address, you can keep it there. But spontaneous is yeah, it's beautiful.
Just like you said before we started, let's do the dance. Let's get out there. um, you asked me to ask you this question. Um, what do you envision for your work and sharing the technique to a wider audience? What is your vision like for the next year?
Yes. Well, we've already touched on it now. I suppose like writing the book, my autobiography. I feel like that's really like the first step. I need to complete that book. Um, because now what I've learned recently, and also everything with Kelly, you know, it's not in the first book. In the first book, the techniques are there, and there's
Right.
a little bit of writing, a little part of writing about how we met and the beginnings of all the levels. And now in the autobiography, a lot of it is about me and Kelly and how we met, how the nose drinking was discovered, how it's evolved, where it is now, and all the techniques alongside it, you know?
Right.
So that's a more detailed view. So that would be the first step, I feel, to finish that book and make it available for people, even though some of it's very private and very, shall we say, you know, to do with my family and very close to me.
Sure.
But it's okay because I've seen now what I had to go through all these years, you know, has been all part of not knowing about certain things about the family, and then is a way to kind of keep you healing yourself and not knowing stuff, and then you get to learn it all, and you've done the work, and you're ready to handle the information, and everyone around you understands how it's affected also them, you know, like my friendship with Kelly, you know, we're very close, so he's been there for me, and I've been there for him, and then something like that, you know, rocks a lot of people's worlds, you know.
Yeah.
And then the healing's already there. You've already done the work on yourself, so there's no ill feeling, there's no, you know, stress, there's no animosity between anyone. Particularly, you know, from my side, there isn't any. And it's, if anyone else hasn't, then that's for them to work it out. Read my book and work out the ways that you can remove all that animosity and all that anger. You know, it really doesn't have to be there anymore. You know, any kind of grudges or stress. And really, that's what I've been working on myself with all these years, and now it's beautifully coming together. I feel very much grounded now. When I go out here, you know, it's a very busy party place and, you know, fun place, and I feel really centered now, you know, in ways that weren't available to me, you could say, in the past. So it's like a whole new breath of fresh air for me, socializing and everything, you know. And I want to keep furthering that by sharing that. And like we said about the retreats, you know, that's the next step now, is to host a retreat. I've already given workshops, so it will just be an extended workshop, you know? Yeah.
Well, the retreats are very, very powerful. I know we jumped back on the subject again, and I want to give you my definition of what a retreat is. But what it goes, it's more powerful the longer people stay there. We've done 3 days. The next couple of retreats that I'll be doing will be 7 days. For people who really want to go deep into their process, they really want to clear things out of the way and really have breakthroughs. So the longer you can go, the better. And what's really helpful for people is they're not in their normal surroundings. They're not in their house. They're not in their world back at hometown, wherever they came from. And so they don't have familiar landmarks to go by other than they've got to be in their emotions throughout the retreat. They've got to be whatever arises so they can look at it, face it, and then clear it. So here's my definition of retreat. Retreat is to take a vacation, consciously take a vacation from the way you've been treating yourself and treating other people until life becomes a treat again.
Totally. That's beautiful. I sense that myself now, is like looking at yourself differently. How you've been looking at yourself all these years, you start to unravel it, and you see parts that are not serving you and they're just not wise, you know, and you remove them. It's very becoming clearer for us now, isn't it? How to adapt, you know, and look at ourselves from within.
Right. And we're dropping all the identities. We're dropping the personalities, the characters. The ego is not going away, but it's taken backstage now. It's backseat.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got a couple more questions here.
Sure.
Okay, so we already talked about the retreat. Do you talk to people about any other UT protocols like foot soaks, enemas, navel soaks? I mean, are you practicing those other protocols?
Yeah, I'm starting to rub it in my face, you know, in my eyes and ears, and shower. You know, Eric was talking to me about that, like every morning. I haven't really been doing that so much, you know, but I just been putting it in my nose and in my mouth, and then a little bit on the face, but not like putting it in the ears a lot. Only when it hurts, I put it in the ears and it goes away, the pain. So I do tell people straight away, I'm like, earache, I said, put your pee in your ear. As long as you have a healthy way of life, you know, pee in the ear, it cures earache, you know, in a day or two. And foot soaking I do with salt water already for many, many years. You know, Sahaja Yoga says put salt water in a bowl, put some water and salt, and then put your feet in there for 5 or 10 minutes every evening, you know, after your shower. I've been doing that for already 20 years. That is phenomenal, just salt water.
This is all, yeah.
I've done some urine as well sometimes, you know, I peed in the bowl or I put some urine. And again, that's with the salt, I feel it's essential too. So I do mention it to people, absolutely. And nose and ear and hair for, you know, the scalp. Yeah, I do suggest it to people. But I suppose it's like, you know, it shocks them just as much as drinking it. I mean, a lot of the time, you know, they're like, you know, who you tell it to, you're going to be very selective, obviously.
Yeah, well, being a professional, you'll understand this comment. You have to know your audience.
I know.
You got to know who you're talking to. You've got to figure out what is their language and how can we meet.
Exactly.
So
early on.
We'll have a common ground here. All right, let's flip it over. Flip the page over. Flip the page over. What do people, why do you think people, we're going into spiritual questions now, since you gave me something to work with, and it's near and dear to my heart to be able to talk about the subject. As you can tell, I've got masters with me all over the place. There's Babaji right there. We're going to keep the master's energy coming through the screen for all the viewers here. Why do people make life so difficult for themselves? Why is it people create suffering? How's that?
Yes, I mean,
hard question.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Well, I see it, I suppose, from a chakra level, you know, from Sahaja Yoga, so many years of practice. It's a very logical. Let me just get the chart, actually.
Okay, please.
Yeah, and Sri Mataji, the founder, Sri Mataji Nirmala Devi, the founder of Sahaja Yoga, she's talked about this a lot, suffering and the cause of it, and also Christ has been referenced a lot in her talks, you know, almost once in the talk, she brings up Christ in almost every talk I've noticed, you know, or often she brings it, and everything that he shared. So, you know, essentially, like when you see the chakra chart and you see like there's a balloon on the head on both sides. There's like a balloon on the left and right hemisphere. So this is all the build-up over the years. These balloons swell up as we get to adulthood. You know, from children, the ego and the superego haven't developed yet. You know, so the divine force is flowing through us and connecting with the divine that's all around us. And so as the ego and superego slowly start to swell up as we get through puberty, you know, and we get this separate identity. So the left side of the chakra channel, it goes to the right of the brain, and this swells up with our like doubts, you know, with the left side is more to do with pushing us down, you know, and then on the right side, it comes up to this side, it crosses over. Yeah, the right side of the body crosses over to the left side of the head. So they swap over. And then this is to do with like too much of the ego and like how great we are and how we don't have to listen to anyone, and you know. And so these two keep swelling, and we listen to them, and they block the divine. The divine can't get through the balloons, so she goes to sleep. And so essentially we're identifying with a false self, you know. We're becoming like a deformed in a sense, you know, because we've deformed from our natural form, you know, from so many years. And then we get pollution of the soul through all these wrong ideas and wrong books and teachers telling us things, and then television telling us things, and false role models and
religion,
lots of attacks from the television. You know, we get a lot of attacks into our eyes from when we watch negative things that we don't realize. And all this, you know, build up then creates us in a way that we're blocked and we're not flowing, so we harm ourselves and we harm others, and we feel guilty, so we do more harm, and then we feel guilty, and it's like a cycle it's been pushed on us. Or, you know, God has made it that way to give us something to overcome.
Right, and that explains why people are in conflict. People are out of balance. It feels like the war that's supposedly going out in the world is the battle between us and our nature, with the ego in the mix. So
Absolutely.
this is where the meditation and the mantras and the sitting by the fire and breath work comes in, and it's a lifesaver. I mean, I wouldn't be here today without these practices, and I think you and a lot of other people would have burned out a long time ago.
Yeah, God only knows would have been, what would have happened. So when I met Kelly, 22, I was already going into some dangerous places, with drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
Just to escape from because I knew something was wrong, So I said, I was taking ecstasy with my friends, and it's like when I was 21, 22, to push things down, to avoid things. And then it's good to meet an awakened master, to help you awaken yourself.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to meet an awakened master when I was in my early 20s, it's like a real godsend.
Yeah, yeah. And they can get you straight. Some of them, I've heard about some masters that you sit in their presence and they just clear your case. I mean, they'd rather hang out with someone who's in bliss than someone who's depressed, out of shape. So let's go on to the next question. We're doing well on our time right now. And now let's ask you to explain Sahaja Yoga and how does someone begin on this yogic path or practice?
Yes, so there's many free classes around the world that you can go to. On the website, you can just look up Sahaja Yoga and centers near me. And then there's country flags that you can press on. And you can also just look up directly like Sahaja Yoga Italy or Sahaja Yoga America or Colorado, whatever. And you'll see a post, a free meeting, a free class. That's how people can find out more, like near them. And what it is essentially is, as I said, the Kundalini wants to rise again, as she was when we were children. She wants to rise, and these two balloons, they automatically deflate as she rises. So yeah, essentially you've got to just know about the affirmations for each chakra that you can also see on YouTube as well. You can look up self-realization and Sri Mataji, and she's the founder, and you can hear it from her mouth directly, her words. And essentially it's like really talking about forgiveness, forgiveness is a huge part, and not feeling guilty, because we're programmed and we're like emotional blackmail and family relationships. A lot of guilt has been plugged in over the years.
Big time.
This is all again false. Yeah, all false.
Yeah.
It's all illusion, taking us out of the bliss.
It's all illusion. It also is designed to separate us from source. I mean, I'm really clear about that. It keeps you from straying away. Basically, it's a distraction. It's a way to hook your attention.
Absolutely. Any way to try and make you think about something instead of just being in the bliss.
Right. And if you've counseled with enough people, you'll notice there is a common belief system among a lot of people. I mean, I had this growing up, and it was the whole idea that I wasn't okay, that I wasn't good enough, I didn't matter, nobody valued me, and that's poison. And a lot of people have had to deal with that to pull themselves up enough to have enough confidence to get out of bed and go do life.
Absolutely.
It's impacted us more than we realize.
I know, I feel you. I had similar like inadequacies, and you want to make your parents proud. Your earth parents, you want to make them proud, or your dad or your mom. You're competing. There's like brotherly sisterly stuff. It's like I just feel like there's so much nonsense around. We just want to get on. We want to have fun. We love each other. Like I can often see through it, but my own inadequacies I couldn't see so good. When it's yourself, it's different. But other people, I'm all right. With myself, I had more like issues of feeling insecure, or things like that. But other people I've been good with. My relationships have been good with my family and friends.
Well, the fact that you're voicing it and saying it out loud, you're telling yourself.
Exactly. New heights.
That's already planted that seed. It's growing right away. What mindset or mindful practice is best to use to get the most benefits from Sahaja Yoga?
Yes. So firstly, it will show you that you don't have a mind, but obviously you have a consciousness, and so the mind is the one that wants to trick us, with lots of thoughts of the past and the future. and inadequacy or insecurity works through the mind. So now, as I'm getting deeper, with the breathing techniques too, Sahaja Yoga is enhancing for me. And when I'm out, say in the street or something, and a lot of guys will look at me or not look at me because I'm very tall. I have a presence. Mm-hmm. I have a voice. My eyes are now, like you could say, they're piercing in a good way. So a lot of guys, they get a bit uncomfortable, and I want to show them straight away that there's no ego in that way. That there's an ego, but there's no competition. There's no battle. There's no battle with me. I'm not trying to analyze you. I'm not trying to judge you. My attention now is centered, and I love myself. And the Kundalini through Sahaja Yoga will guide me. The mother will guide me when I need to look at that person, or when I just need to just be inside and just be centered. So really, it's about letting the divine guide us, and also, combining that with your own self-esteem, restored and rebalanced. Like, you feel good about yourself. You feel that you have accomplished, you've achieved a lot, and you're a good person, and all the thoughts that to say otherwise, don't engage with them.
Good.
Yes.
We are good people. We do matter. People do love us. So anything in opposition to that, don't give it any attention.
Simple.
It's simple. Are you familiar with a set of books called A Course in Miracles?
I'm not, unless someone has mentioned it. I haven't read them or anything. No.
A Course in Miracles came out of California in 1975, and was basically a set of books designed to teach us how to unlearn what we were led to believe was true. It's the unteaching that was taking place, because it corrects how we were taught by our family in the world. So one of the things it says is that it's a mere shift of perception. That's all that really takes place in us. When it comes to healing, it's not about time. It's not about going through a process. It's not about doing self-improvement or trying to fix yourself. It's a matter of shifting the perception that you're not okay, that you're not whole. And I actually believe that the masters do that. They just move people's mind all of a sudden at present time, and then they can see that everything's all right, and their body accepts it and aligns with it.
Alignments, yeah, exactly. And acknowledging that we're designed perfectly. Everything is perfect about us, and only we've complicated matters over the years. We've complicated, but nothing. We're totally perfect. Mm-hmm. We're not supposed to suffer.
We're the cause and the cure.
Yeah, we're not here to be suffering. God didn't want us to be suffering or feel guilty, consistently. Yeah, we've gone through our suffering, but that's it now. It's to bring us here. Yeah.
And if you notice that when people stop beating themselves up, they're kinder people.
Yeah, exactly. Just automatically.
Automatically, they don't see people as somebody they need to be on guard about.
That's it. Changes the world.
Can we get an amen? Somebody out there. Felt like we were just in church. All right. All right, let's go over a little bit of basics about how Sahaja Yoga works. You kind of mentioned the meditation. Is there any particular format for the meditation? Is it different than any other kind of meditation?
Yes, actually, it's very, the meditation part is the simple part. Yeah, it's, all of it is really simple practice. If you go into it, it's very simple. So the meditation is thoughtless awareness. That's the first state. Okay. You get completely aware, you're totally alert, but you just have no thoughts. You can say like a mountain lake, when you see a mountain lake, it's perfectly still, perfectly calm. Mm-hmm. And that's how we want our attention to be. When our eyes are open, we often react to things. So like right now, I've got lots of things here. The book is there, there's coconut oil, there's a writing pad. So things that can create thoughts around us with the eyes. Mm. So the first thing is a mountain lake. So you see something and you don't react. Right. Just reflection of it, and that's cool. You see the glass, you see the book, okay. You see the person, you see the tree, and you just say, wow, what a beautiful tree, Give me your love, tree. I give you my love. And then there's no thoughts.
Right.
It's that simple, right? Thoughtless awareness. And this takes some practice, but it also is a natural state. It's a two sides. You practice it, but it's also a state that you have always been in, even if you're not aware of it. You know, you might have been having thoughts, but this state of meditation has been there, you know, even when you've been thinking and saying, well, I'm sure they're going to stop thinking soon. And it's ever present, you know, this beautiful state, this kingdom of God is ever present, just above the head.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the meditation side. And to get to the meditation, as it's obviously, it's not just saying, oh, just go thoughtless awareness, and it's not that simple to do that. Of course not. We have different things in our attention, and how do we clean them? So the affirmations that we have,
Mm-hmm.
so for each chakra, there's a specific affirmation in English, and these are correct in terms of, these are for each chakra, they're specific so that the Kundalini recognizes them, and she automatically rises with each chakra. And then once she gets to the top of the head, she pierces the Sahasrara, she expresses herself as a cool breeze, and then she comes out of the hands, comes out of the eyes as a cool breeze, and then we automatically enter a state of meditation. Like once we've done the affirmations, it's instantaneous, you know.
Give us some affirmations, some examples.
Okay, so the first one that we recite is on the second chakra. It's the Swadhisthana, where pure knowledge resides, and it's where the leg meets the hip, where your leg and your body join.
Okay.
And on this chakra, we say, we're speaking to the Kundalini. She's the mother. She's our individual mother. And we say, Mother, please give me the pure knowledge. And that's the truth about who we are. All the wisdom that we're saying about the Shivambhu, about the Tao, about Sahaja Yoga, the breathing, that knowledge is already within us. It's just, it's been, you know, covered up and it hasn't been made available. So we ask for the pure knowledge 6 times, because this chakra has 6 petals, and then the Kundalini starts rising. So even now, I've just said pure knowledge a few times, I can already feel the Kundalini is emanating again, like in my belly. I feel very nice, you know, substance, very nice sensation. And then the next one we go to is the Guru principle, the 10 commandments, and we say 10 times, Mother, I am my own master. We affirm it. I am my own guru. You have to affirm this because so many other masters we've had and false masters over the years who have got into our heads. And so we have to say 10 times, I am my own master, so that the Kundalini hears these words and we hear them. Our higher self hears them and is saying them through us. So it's bringing us to our higher self.
It's activating them, in sense.
The guru.
Yeah. And they're also integrating into your consciousness, right?
Exactly. And you sense it. You get a calmer state. You stop thinking about the past and the future. You automatically get in the present.
Have you noticed that you... Oh,
yeah, please.
Have you noticed from the observer, one who observes your mind instead of the thinker, when you're observing your mind, you could be in any situation and you're able to see where you're out of balance, and you could drop into that state of bliss or state of stillness on purpose, mindfully.
Yeah. I'm hearing what you're saying. Absolutely, yeah.
It comes in handy when you're in the public.
Yeah, your state of being, absolutely. You know, you've always got the silent, quiet place that you can go to in yourself. And Christ talked about that, and Shrimataji has shared that. Mm-hmm. And Sahaja Yoga is that. It's going to that place within you that nobody can get into, and it's your private relationship with the divine and your space. And yeah, you have to really cultivate that and nurture that space within you. Absolutely.
What's fascinating is that when we go to this place, it's not really a place that is of any physicality. It's almost like a dimension or a realm.
It is, isn't it? Domain. Absolutely. And for this chakra, I just want to say, for this one, the heart chakra, we then say, Mother, I am the spirit. Mother, I am the spirit. 12 times. And to affirm, showing that we're not the body, and we're not the mind, and we're not the ego, right? And we've been programmed to identify with all these parts of ourselves falsely, and this is what creates the suffering. The body. We say, oh, my body, or my mind, or oh, my ego. You identify with all these false states, and it just puts us into like the wrong feelings and the wrong center. Completely out of balance. And that is where we need to start with first. Is how we view ourselves, so that we can explore the chakras, explore the Shivambhu. We can decode it. That, wow, I feel so good now. But if someone drinks their urine and they haven't done some other work, meditation, sahaja yoga, they haven't addressed certain things, then they'll be like, oh, I don't really feel much better. It hasn't done anything for me, right? Mm-hmm. They're not sensitive.
Right. Yeah, we kind of had that talk earlier. You've got to address all areas of your life.
Yeah. To get the feeling of what it's doing for you, the Shivambhu, how is it healing me? What is it giving me? Mm-hmm. We have to really address our attention, our meditation. That's how I felt. How the Shivambhu helped me, because I drank it the first time through the mouth, and I said, "Wow!" I went in the sunshine and I swam all day, and I wasn't hungry. And that's how it was introduced to me. I said, "Well, that's how I was straight into it from there on."
Yeah. Yeah, that was usually when someone's going, what did I just drink? I know it was my urine, but there's something magical, supernatural going on here.
Phenomenal, isn't it? Phenomenal, yeah. People, just that first step is all you need. With honesty, with sincerity, give it a chance. Mm-hmm. Like really investigate, a scientist, say, what is it doing to me? Let me have a glass of my urine and see how my day is. Try and be in the sun if you can. Walk, sit on the grass, go to the park. And then really decode it, then people will have different results. If they just drink it and go to work, they might not feel so much. You know what I'm saying? Well, in the office.
We want to keep introducing it to people. I'm constantly amazed and humbled when people, we have an initial conversation. I said, well, you just just get started right away. And some people go, I'm ready. I heard the call. And I've actually had some people that walked, they left, we were on a camera. They went to the bathroom, came back with a jar of some of their fresh collected, and they did their maiden voyage in front of me as if I was a stranger.
Brilliant.
And so, this is the equation you bring to people. You're so anchored and so grounded in the practice that you're unshakable. I mean, doing what I'm doing, I've had a lot of people that are criticizing and judging, all the naysayers. It doesn't faze me anymore.
Now it's laughable now, because we're getting such a deep level, and the world, half the world is going into the pharmaceutical, getting caught up in the whole pandemic, narrative. Right. One half is going that way. So Elixir is even clearer now what you need, to protect you. And for more attacks, we're getting different weather attacks and technology attacks. Mm-hmm. Even like they can localize the attacks from what we hear. And so even deeper now, you've got to protect yourself, heal yourself, nourish yourself. So people who go even say now, they sound even sillier when they try to criticize something they know nothing about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and after their first question, they don't know what they're talking about.
It's just, we heard it all before, haven't we?
We have. So here's an area. A couple more questions. We're going to wrap it up here in a little bit. Here's an area.
I just plugged my phone because it's battery now 10%. I thought we have enough. Yeah, I just plug it in.
Can't you just hit it with your life force and charge it with your body? We're not there yet.
Yeah, you see me now standing up.
Yes. You're just a shadow of your former self. Oh, there you go.
Now I need something to prop it up. If I do like that, it's not going to work, is it? Let me just see. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, you make it work or you go audio. I don't know.
It's got about 8% battery now, and I had about 80 at the beginning, and I don't know what happened to it, but
that's okay. You've addressed it, and it's doing fine. Okay.
Can you see me? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, good. I can see you. That's doable. All right. So, talk to us a little bit about lovemaking, arousal, and desire from the point of view of the Sahaja Yoga. from what
Okay,
you've
yeah.
studied.
So, yeah, so Hatha Yoga doesn't talk too much about the Taoism or Taoism, the making love. It doesn't talk about Taoism at all. Only it talks about Taoism from Lao Tzu as the prophet, as one of the masters. So they respect Lao Tzu in Sahaja Yoga. And his symbol was yin and yang, the master Lao Tzu. And yin and yang, as we know, is masculine, feminine, and the balance between the two.
Right.
From all aspects of nature. And so, through Kelly, he showed me the lovemaking side of Lao Tzu, or of yin and yang, the Tao of yin and yang, and of the wisdom of the masters, the Yellow Emperor in China, and how they explored the intimacy side. So Sahaja Yoga is very clear and very pure in that regard. Like it says you have a loving relationship with your partner, and it wants you to have one partner. And I totally agree with that. I find it to be much deeper and much healthier to have one partner and to be with them, and ideally long term, years.
I agree.
Yeah, and stable. When you practice with your partner Sahaja Yoga, because I haven't had many partners over the years, but when I practice with them, it's beautiful because you meditate together. It brings you much closer to someone, and when you enjoy the silence with your partner, then you enjoy talking to them much deeper later, and being intimate with them, when you do meditation with them. So in that regard, yeah, it's nurtured all my friendships and any relationships that I've had, which haven't been many, it's nurtured them too. And then what I'm being able to evolve with the Tao and the techniques of semen retention, which is not discussed in Sahaja Yoga. None of that is brought up. But through Kelly and through our readings, we've discovered about the practice of semen retention and how essential that's also been for my leg as well, because with intimacy, it's very nurturing, just as the elixir is nurturing, from the water.
Right.
So as for a man, the semen is extremely nurturing when he retains it during his beautiful lovemaking. He retains it throughout the process and goes to sleep without releasing. And both partners get extremely nourished when the man has not released, and they both have been making love and they go to sleep together. The next morning, they're so nourished. Whereas if he had released, if he had ejaculated and they got up in the morning, they're both going to feel a little withdrawn, and they're not going to be so as attracted to each other, physically. They might be in love with each other, but physically, you're not as attracted if the man keeps releasing every time that you're intimate, And so I'd say to people are not doing it correctly. They're not making love correctly, because if the man is releasing every time you do it, just as we get programmed to do, it's very draining, and it's also not good for the relationship. A lot of relationships have failed because the bedroom has not been in equilibrium, shall we say.
Yes, and you might also add, I'd like to also add that the insecurities around sexuality and the sexual the psychological damage we've had from our earlier lovers and partners doesn't seem to be much of an issue with semen retention. You see, it helps to heal that kind of thing in a man or his partner.
It does. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. I do feel that too. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who have a rough journey with their sex life.
Exactly, and it all leads again to the ego and the superego. The two hemispheres. A lot of that is from misunderstandings and actions with women, or feeling bad and rejection. What?
Communication. How well they communicated their needs and their wants.
Yeah, totally. There's so much of that. It's got entangled over the years. Absolutely, desires, and misidentifications and people, abuse, for whatever, emotional, psychological, physical, all for years. Yeah, the parents are passing it on to the children. It's been a continual of passing on of baggage for generations. And now we're in the age where we're in the process where we can actually heal those, through meditation, through the chakras, through breathing.
Mm-hmm.
We can heal these blockages once and for all the descendants, for all our predecessors and our ancestors. We can heal it once and for all. Stop this chain of passing it on. This is happening now.
Right. So
beautiful times.
The wounding can stop now.
Exactly. Stop passing it on.
Yeah. Grow up, people.
Yeah. Face your own traumas and don't pass them on to the next generation. It's enough of that same old drama.
Yeah. Well, that's a new definition for love.
Yeah.
Not going to pass it on to you. What would you recommend to people who lack discipline, and how could you be better at being a disciplined person for those people that are struggling with it?
Okay, yes. So everyone is different, I suppose, right? But they have to work out for them, as a scientist, as an investigator, a detective,
Explore.
explore how they can enhance their discipline and strengthen themselves, So I'd recommend, firstly, really is looking at doing the Sahaja Yoga, self-realization first. The affirmations that I mentioned, they will really help to unblock any of these kind of obstacles, really, that stop us from, loving ourselves. Because discipline is really, a lot of it comes from loving yourself, right? And you love to do it because you feel great yesterday. You want to feel great again today, so you get up early and you don't know who you're going to meet today. And you're like, I want to see them. I want them to see me, as my best. So loving yourself and forgiving yourself and anyone that you might have a grudge towards, whether they're alive or dead, that's really you've got to start with that. Yes. So that you appreciate and value yourself, and then you want to do the practices, I think that's one of the best places. So Sahaja Yoga, for me, was the place I started, and now 23 years of practice or so, it's ever present and gaining in strength every day. So that's a good place to start. Yeah. And I'd say also is choosing, when to do them and not being hard on yourself if you haven't done it for a couple of days or something. Sometimes we need space from the practice. So not beating yourself up, because then you don't do the techniques again because you feel guilty, or you eat something and you feel heavy, so you don't do it again, and then it's like a self-perpetuating. So really being kind to yourself, but also knowing when to be also strict with yourself, and saying, that's it now, come on, let's do it now. It's getting that balance right, being both. Sure. Kind and strict, both. Yeah, I feel that way now.
Thank you. There's also the aspect of being mindful how you feel after you do the practice, right? Like you've done some yoga, stop before you go into your day and just notice the benefits. Notice how you feel about yourself. Yeah. Your energy's changing, that you're at peace, that you feel love again. And
exactly. Take a moment, breathe.
Yeah. Take it in and let that motivate you to do it again. And then we build on top of that. Some people say it puts deposits in your spiritual bank account or in your heart. So, let's just keep up those practices.
Absolutely. I see that too. Absolutely.
All right. We're coming to a close here. But let me ask you for, if you would, Samuel, what words of advice would you love to leave our viewers that would support and encourage them on their journey of wellness?
Yes. So furthering really what I've been saying throughout, I'd say is, being kind to yourself and viewing yourself in a way that it hasn't been the same all these years. You have to adapt it and evolve it, and to write things down is very key. I feel like to have a little book that is just your journal, and say when you do some practice, after the practice, you're going to write in the journal. After you have a nice shower and a meditation, say you feel refreshed and you've got some ideas in your head, some insights. It's good to write them down, and even at the end of the day, you know, you can write some things things that you'd like to correct, or things that you did maybe that you'd like to work on that you don't keep repeating. This I feel is very, very beneficial, you know, writing, and something that Kelly is often, you know, reiterated. And again, is also understanding about yourself that a lot of the thoughts you've got are not yours, you know, and they didn't emanate from you, but that's how we've been designed, is we're going to get thoughts coming from outside or from the ego that we need to just move along and just say, no, I'm not engaging with this thought anymore, you know,
Right.
no more of this. So these I feel are essential to really observe your attention. Like you said, you know, after you practice, observe how you're feeling, go and walk in nature, be aware of your phone, you know, how it can really suck.
Walk
Yeah,
barefoot
exactly.
a lot.
Barefoot. Yeah, I do that a lot here. And how your phone can suck a lot of your thoughts, and it can also give you thoughts, you know, and it can block your dreams. So you've got to be aware of the technology, that it's also impacting us and getting into our heads. So people need to really, you know, protect themselves from the technology too.
Right.
You know, alongside observing their thoughts and their feelings, much more sensitivity to yourself. I'm already sensitive, so I feel like I've already got that. But the phone has been a distraction for me too. I've got to say, like Pandora's box. You know,
It's
when
a
I'm
love hate.
alone,
It's a love hate.
when I'm alone, sometimes, you know, it brings me a lot of joy to see loved ones, friends, you know. And then when I'm traveling alone, I'm saying, like, and sometimes I don't talk to people that much. So for me, it's been really good. But then again, it's like you said, love hate. So you have to be strict and be observant. I think is essential. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. What I try to practice, and sometimes I'm good at it, is just give yourself, when I'm online, give yourself an hour or give yourself a measured amount of time. You can't go over that time, walk away.
Absolutely. I think that's really good too. Yeah. Like, yeah. And then you can do something else wonderful instead. Draw a picture, you know, read some vital information, or whatever you want to do. Absolutely. Each got a nice little segment for each little practice.
Something that's nurturing. What really sucks your day and your brain is you click on something that was on a social media post, and it has a link, and then you click on the link, and before you realize it, you were following some rabbit down a hole, and an hour and a half, 2 hours went by, and you go, what the heck happened? And then you got to regroup. So if you just limit your time, you're better off. So like I mentioned before, we're going to come here or close here. We're going to be posting Samuel's website and email address in the description of the video. The website is drinkingthroughthenose.com, which also connects to the email, doesn't it?
It has the email address there. If they want drinking through the nose at Gmail, they can directly reach me there. Absolutely.
Okay.
Just
and you have social media pages that people can also find you?
yeah, well, Samuel G. Cohen on Facebook and Instagram are the main ones. And then we've got the Sahaja Yoga group on Facebook. If anyone wants to know more and join the group, just send an invite, and send a request. It's called Sahaja Yoga with Samuel G. Cohen. Sahaja Yoga Meditation with Samuel G. Cohen. And we've got a nose drinking group if they want, drinking through the nose Facebook group, to get more information in there. And those are the essential ways that they can contact me and Kelly also, if they want to ask us anything. We're open to any inquiries, anything people want to know. We're always quick to answer. Yeah.
So there's another way people can find you. At my website, brothersage.com, I have put together and I'm managing the Water Family Directory that shows where you can find a urine therapy teacher anywhere on the planet. You are listed. Of course, you're still listed at Goa. If you want that changed, let me know. And if you want Kelly listed, let me know.
Okay, sure. I might be going to Goa soon again, but, you know, for a short visit, yeah.
Okay, well, I visited your listing about an hour ago and corrected the email address because it was your old address there.
That's fine. That's fine. As long as the email is there.
All right. Anything else before we close our call?
No, I feel that we've covered enough today, you know, plenty of good nuggets. It's
As
been
always,
great to see you.
likewise, it's always a joy to be in your presence.
Yes,
Someday we'll meet in person. We'll either be doing retreats or just, hang out together.
sounds lovely. Hope it's soon.
Blessings to you.
Huge love. God bless.
God bless.
Thanks for this.
You're welcome.